Early in my career, I experienced quite a severe case of burnout that made me question all my life and career choices, and I took quite a long break from software development before I recovered and got back to work. In this video, I will explain you a bit about what is burnout, what causes it, why so many people experience it, what mistakes led me to my case of burnout, and what I do right now to prevent it from happening again. My name is Gregory, I am a senior engineering manager, and this is Not Only Code. Let's start. Burnout as a medical phenomenon has only recently been recognized by the WHO. In 2019, they officially categorized it as an official medical thing. Before that, burnout was a topic that was discussed among people, but it was never officially classified. So right now when we talk about burnout, what we talk about is a prolonged state of physical or mental exhaustion. And the key here is the word prolonged. Burnout is not something that happens on one day. It's a serious thing that lasts for a long time, and it has severe impact on your life. I know a number of software developers that went through burnouts, myself included. I've seen people taking long breaks from work because of this mental exhaustion. And every case is somewhat different. It's not that for everyone this burnout happens in the same way, and not for everyone it happens for the same reasons. So let's talk about why burnout happens in the first place. Generally, burnout is caused by a high stress level, and it might be caused by stress at work, it might be caused by stress in your personal life. Maybe you have some problems, the family issues, maybe some personal problems that cause this stress level to go through the roof, and that might cause a burnout. In this video, I will mainly focus on the work-related things, and at work, stress might be caused by lots of different things. Maybe you have tons of deadlines. Maybe there is a lot of pressure from your manager and other stakeholders. Maybe you have to consistently work long hours. Maybe you are afraid that you will get fired. Lots of things, even a toxic environment, dealing with toxic people, might lead to higher stress levels. Burnout happens when for a certain longer period of time, the stress level is not addressed. The stress level is constantly high, and you do not have time to decompress. You do not have opportunity to lower this stress level. Generally, stress is always present in our life, but most of the time this level of stress is very manageable. We might experience stress because of random circumstances. You are late for a meeting with someone that you know, and that might cause you to be stressed about it. You might lose something on your way back home, and that causes you to be stressed about the consequences of that. So stress is happening all the time to us, but in most cases, this level of stress is either manageable, or if we experience high level of stress, it's just a spike, and later it goes back to normal. However, at work, it is possible that you experience this high level of stress for a long period of time. And at some point, this stress accumulates and you are not able to recover. You do not have a chance to bring it back to a lower level. A short digression: if you enjoy this content, make sure to like this video and to subscribe to my channel and share it with people that you know that might find it valuable. And if you have any questions about working as a software developer or especially engineering manager, drop me an email with your question at gregory@notonlycode.org, and I will be answering these questions in my future videos and live streams. One thing to note is that this level of stress might not come necessarily from other people, but it might be self-imposed. And that's what happened to me. So early in my career, it was almost a decade ago, I had a really good job. I worked remotely from Poland, where I had quite low cost of living. I worked for a German company, so I was getting pretty decent salary. I had a really good job for someone with my experience and skills. And in theory, everything was perfect. I had a good team around me. I had pretty decent opportunities. But after a few months of work, I lost all the passion for it. And that's because I put a lot of pressure on myself. All my spare time, I was putting efforts into becoming a better programmer. I was working long hours. I was trying to push through and get promoted to a senior level. I was trying to become as good software developer in very short time as possible. And I pushed myself to a certain stress level that basically spiraled out of control. And on the other hand, I didn't have opportunities, I didn't have a way to manage that stress. I didn't have things that normally lower your level of stress. So how do you normally lower it? Well, by not doing the things that make you stressed. So for example, if your work makes you stressed, then what you do is you take holidays, you relax on the weekend, you spend time on your hobbies, you spend time with other people in social situations. At the same time, if you realize that the work causes you too much stress, you might decide to try to delegate some things there, you might decide not to take some initiatives, you might decide to talk to your manager to take a bit lighter load for a certain period of time while you try to get back to your normal self. I didn't do any of that. I was too young and, well, too stupid to address what was a case of light burnout when it happened. I didn't think about, taking it a bit easier. I didn't think about fixing my social life that I had neglected. What I did was what every dumb person tries to do. Just push through. I thought it's just a phase. It will pass. I just have to keep going. So I kept trying to do my best at work. I kept spending all my time trying to become a better software developer. I kept neglecting my social life. I kept neglecting my hobbies. And eventually, all that led me to a stress level where I realized that I couldn't care about my work anymore. I just lost all the passion that I had. I stopped caring about it. I didn't want to work anymore. And it wasn't like 1 or 2 days. For a number of weeks, I just couldn't care. I woke up in the morning, I did my work, I closed my laptop, and I didn't want to do anything. I was just constantly mentally exhausted. And because I didn't know any better, what I decided to do was to quit my job and rethink whether I still want to be a software developer. It took me 10 months to take the next full-time position. For 10 months, I was still wondering whether this is what I want to do. I did some freelancing gigs, I worked like maybe 5 hours, 10 hours a week, but it took me almost a year to get to a point where I decided, yes, software development is still what I want to do and I want to take another full-time position. And that wasn't great time for me. Even though I spent it traveling and relaxing, it was quite hard because I was constantly thinking about this burnout that happened to me, about the situation that I ended up with. And I was worried that if I take another job that I will get to exactly the same point where I was. So during these 10 months, I spent some time reflecting on what happened to me and why it happened. And I decided to make some changes in my life. And when I took this new full-time position, I stopped putting so much pressure on myself. I decided that I am where I am, that I will go at my own pace, that I will care about the things outside of work, and that whenever I realize that I start burning out, I will take a break. And now this is what I do when I realize that my level of stress is too high for some period of time. I take a break to decompress, I take a break to relax, but also I decide to change something in my life. And this is the biggest mistake that people make when they are burning out. They just take longer holidays and later they go back to exactly the same environment that caused burnout in the first place. So if you take a break and you move the level of your stress down, it becomes manageable, but you go back to exactly the same situation, you will repeat the exact same mistake. And that's something that I always recommend people when they feel that they are burning out. I say, figure out what causes you to burn out and change these things. And now I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a therapist, so I'm out of my depth here. I will not tell you what exactly you should do in order to manage your burnout. What I recommend and what I should have done years ago is to talk to a professional. They are people that deal with these kind of problems on daily basis. They are people that specialize in it and that can help you figure out what causes your burnout. how to make it more manageable, how to lower your stress level, and eventually how to bring this balance to your life where you can keep going in your career without dealing with the threat of burnout, without being constantly stressed. These days people are way more open about talking to therapists than they were years ago, but still I think that this is kind of a taboo and lots of people just think that they can push through and fix things on their own. And of course, it's possible that you will do it. I thought I could do it, but as I told you, it took me such a long time, and I'm pretty sure that if I had been smarter, if I had talked to a professional, it would have prevented my burnout, and maybe my career would have gone faster. I don't know what would have happened, but I know that I wouldn't have taken such a long break that put my career on hold and made me rethink all my career choices up to that point. In the beginning of this video, I talked about software developers burning out, but I think that engineering managers especially are even more at risk than software developers, just because they have to deal with more pressure from different stakeholders. They have to deal with lots of different situations that are happening above them in the organization, but also engineering managers might be stressed by the people in their team. They might be stressed by people underperforming, they might be stressed by people leaving, by new people not being as good as they were hoped to be. So engineering managers and generally people managers are at a bigger risk of burnout. And if you manage people, if you're an engineering manager, you should pay even more attention to your mental health and to your stress level. That's all for today, folks. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will never have to use the advice that I gave here. But if you do, again, talk to professionals, address the burnout as early as possible, avoid the complete burnout that will take you 6 or more months to recover. In the meantime, take care.